Oh, I had a real close to my dad. So I was thinking of a way to kind of connect with him. And I was thinking when we were kids, he would come home from work and stop at a bakery and buy a couple of pounds of dough, and he'd make homemade pizza. He'd stretch out the dough and throw olive oil and tomatoes and some cheese, and
Yeah.
the pizza was phenomenal. And it was great pizza. It almost became like a cult because my friends would start coming over. I'd talk about it. A lot of people ask me, "Hey, Albert, where did pizza therapy come from? What's it all about?" When I was speaking with James of Biscotto Di Sorento, we talked about that. And here's the story of pizza therapy.
Well, it didn't exist. For
Yeah,
me,
it
social
didn't
media
exist.
literally didn't exist when you became an influencer.
Yeah, I
So
don't. Yeah,
what did you
yeah.
do for a career, and how was your gig
Oh, yeah. I'm
evolving?
going to try to telescope, but it's a long story.
Yeah,
Basically, the whole pizza therapy thing started with my mom and dad came. I live in Hawaii. My mom and dad
I
came over to
knew
visit
that. Yeah.
many years ago. And my mom, she said, "Albert, you like to cook? I brought you a pizza stone." This is, late 80s. All
Yeah.
right, mom. So I did. I made some pizza. I really liked it. And I kind of find I had a little bit of a knack to it. And
Right.
and I made pizza. At the time, I was working as a teacher and I worked as a educational therapist at a psych hospital. Then I became a certified special ed teacher. And I
Okay.
kind of
That was like your
incorporated,
treat in your career.
yeah, that was my career, special ed teacher. So I kind of incorporated pizza into that. Um, a number of years later, my dad got sick. He developed dementia, and I had a real close to my dad. So I was thinking of a way to kind of connect
Okay.
with him. And I was thinking when we were kids, he would come home from work and stop at a bakery and buy a couple of pounds of dough, and he'd make homemade pizza. He'd stretch out the dough and throw olive oil and tomatoes and some cheese, and the
Yeah.
pizza was phenomenal. And it was great pizza. It almost became like a cult because my friends would start coming over. I'd talk about it. And then we had these like pizza meeting classes with my dad and went on for years and years and years. And that was I was thinking, what did my dad do? It was pizza, but it was therapy, therapeutic healing kind of stuff. And
Got
it kind
it.
of connected. That's how pizza therapy started. And I threw up a web page with a couple of pages. I guess that was the beginning. And
Yeah.
over the years, being a special ed teacher, I was so lucky to be able to incorporate pizza in my teaching. I work with,
How? Explain.
okay, no, okay, yeah, it sounds like a stretch. I worked with developmentally delayed students, multiply handicapped. So
Young?
I had a oven in my classroom. I was able to, I had actually a full-on kitchen. So I was able to incorporate pizza
Okay.
into my teaching, and it was really cool.
So you
And
connect.
and
Are these kids or adults?
these are students. No, it was a high school. It was a
Kids,
high
right?
school,
Sort of
and
like connecting kids to the real world.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, on a lot of different levels. I mean, I worked with
Tactile.
many different special ed students,
Okay.
but it was when I was working with the multiple handicapped that really things really kind of kicked in, and I did it probably monthly or every, a couple times a month. Then I had another very good friend of mine, another teacher, and we cycled in her regular ed class. She had a life skills class. We
Right.
cycled them into making pizza with my kids, with my special ed students,
Okay.
and magic happened. It was just kind of cool. So that
Wow.
was the
How
kind of
long? How
profession.
long did you do that? That was like a how long?
Yeah, I did it almost 30 years. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Like a
yeah,
career. Yeah.
yeah. Not the whole. Not I wasn't making pizza. Well, I guess I was. I guess I was making pizza the whole 30 years. I didn't have a kitchen the whole time.
That's
Well, maybe the
brilliant.
last 15 years I had a kitchen. So
All right. When did you retire?
I retired a couple of years ago. I think
Yeah.
2018. How about
Yeah.
yourself, buddy? When did you retire?
Oh
You keep
man.
reinventing yourself.
I've always been entrepreneurial, so the concept of being retired and not retired sort of holds no meaning, if that makes sense.
It does. No, you never retire. Really.
But
You
you
just,
come, you go, you stop, but you do something else. Yeah, yeah. So it's been a great, fun ride for me. So, like my pizza experience is exactly like yours.